A plan to renovate the exterior of the school administration building moves forward, and Town Council meets tonight on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, August 2nd, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. Barnstable Town Hall is looking good these days. The brick has been repointed, the roof is new, and brand new windows have been installed throughout the historic building. A plan to restore the exterior of the adjacent school administration building in a similar way is next. The Hyannis Main Street Waterfront Historic District Commission heard about the plan at its meeting this Wednesday.
Essentially, it's a miniature version of this the Town Hall project.
Okay. Do we have
about a third of the price tag? We're not doing a complete. We're not proposing a complete roof replacement unless funds allow. It is included as an alternate just in case the budget, the bids come in low. We might be able to replace the roof, but it's not as in dire need of entire roof replacement as the town hall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we found with some exploratory is that the roof on this building was actually put on with iron nails, whereas the roof on the school administration buildings was put on with copper nails, which is the proper way to put on slate. So the iron nails deteriorated here, and that roof is in much better shape.
Oh, okay.
It's got a Munson black slate, which was really the best slate that you could use on the building.
That's what they had here.
Yeah,
yep.
Pretty good slate.
Mm-hmm. And we did salvage, what would you say, about 10% of the slate on this roof, the original, and we're intending on using that slate for spot repairs on the school administration building.
Okay.
On the roof, we also have the replacement of the copper ridges and finials. They've begun to start to be pitted. We didn't notice any significant holes in them, but some of the valleys and finials have started to lift up. The fasteners are gone. They've lifted up and they are pitted. So we are proposing to replace all of those copper finials and ridges and valleys. The gutters and downspouts are to remain. Those appear to be replacement. They don't appear to be the original, and they're in better shape than what you had here in Town Hall.
Oh. There's also a copper cricket to the side of the chimney on the south side of the building that's been patched and is in pretty rough shape that we're going to replace.
You're going to replace that?
Yeah.
The gutters do have dogs that we are proposing to replace. The dogs, which are the fasteners that hold them onto the roof, and proposing to brass dogs with a twist to let the water off into the gutter. While we're up on the roof, we'll be repointing the chimney. We're also proposing to do 100% repointing of the entire facade. If you're familiar with the facade, it's not very attractive. This 30% of it has been repointed at some point in the past with a mortar that is not consistent with the historic. It just pops off the building.
Looks to be pretty high in cement.
Yeah, it's Portland cement, and the mortar should be a high lime content mortar for that type of brick.
Yeah,
it's probably too hard
for those that don't understand how it works. Lime swells when it gets wet. Cement does not. Once it sets, cement doesn't change. The purpose of the pointing is to apply a material that absorbs moisture and swells to close off the slight shrinkage crack that appears when it dries. Cement, when it dries, leaves the same shrinkage crack, but it never expands to fill in the gap. Especially if it's a high cement content, like a 1-to-3 ratio.
The other issue is that the Portland cement's not permeable for moisture, so it holds moisture in the masonry wall once it gets in, whereas the lime allows moisture to come out through the mortar. That's why the mortar dissipates over time. You want the mortar to be your sacrificial material and the brick to stay in place. When you point with a Portland cement on a soft brick, you end up breaking the brick. One of the alternates that we are carrying is, if there's funds available, we would like to install windows in some of the blocked up window locations on the outside. If you notice on that west elevation, there's a number of windows that have been bricked up and done away with. There's really no reason for that on the interior. Must have been a use when the Maritime Academy had the building.
Yes.
So we are proposing as one of the alternates to actually install windows back into those locations.
After a very brief discussion, the HHDC gave its nod to the project. No word yet on when that work is expected to begin. Recently, the State Attorney General's office ruled that the Town Council was in violation of the state's open meeting law, saying that in several instances last winter, the council held meetings in executive session that should have been public, as well as did not keep sufficient records of those meetings. Town Council President Fred Chirigotis responds.
Violation. The open meeting law changed, I want to say, in January of last year, before we had the training in how the not only did the open meeting law itself change, but the interpretation of how it was interpreted was also, and how you comply with it was also changed. So what happened was, between the time of the change and the time of the training, we had two council meetings, one of which, one of the violations was, I believe, we failed to include in the announcement of the open meeting the name of the individual. I think we had town manager, but we didn't have town manager John Klim. So even though we had an executive session to discuss negotiation with a non-union person, we didn't use his name. So with that, whatever the violations were, they were technical in nature. And the sanction, what the Attorney General said, is that what needs to be done is those councilors who did not attend the training session that we had last year will need to watch the Attorney General's training video this year within 30 days, and we'll certify to the state that everyone has seen that video. Now, many of our councilors went to the training session that the Attorney General had at Barnstable Town Hall last year. What happened is we've had new councilors, so those councilors need the opportunity to review that video, and then once that's done, we'll be in full compliance.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, it's always our intention to make sure that we are in full compliance with the open meeting, with every law. So if someone knows something that we're doing wrong, let us know and we'll fix it.
The town's attorney is reviewing the AG's decision. Meanwhile, Town Council meets tonight. It's a fairly light agenda with only 2 old items of business and 4 new items. One of the items under old business has to do with the Barnstable Historical Commission.
What happens occasionally with the Historical Commission is that they have difficulty meeting a quorum at some votes, and they would like to be able to have alternate members so that individuals who are alternates can attend meetings, and then if there's not a quorum of regular members, then an alternate could take that place, and they would have a quorum and be able to move on items before them. It's a pretty simple thing. It's happened before in other places, but rather than having 7 members, they would like to have an alternate in place.
The council will also discuss a 3-year contract for current Chief of Police Paul McDonald.
I would think that would move forward. The chief has done a very good job. He's a professional police officer and a professional chief. I give him great credit. He's active. He's out in the community. He's very involved, and I would suggest that the contract that is being proposed to him, I think, is very beneficial to the town of Barnstable. The chief is interested in doing his job. He's not interested in lining his pockets, so to speak. So he is really, I don't want to embarrass the guy, but I would have to say that he is an example for those who are receiving contracts and how they should conduct themselves in the negotiation.
Town Council meets tonight in the Town Hall hearing room at 7 p.m. You can view the agenda online at town.barnstable.ma.us. You can also pick up a copy of that agenda in the Town Council office. The meeting, as always, will air live on Channel 18. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.